It's Tuesday on Your View. Welcome to the show. I am Murayo Afolabi Brands. Always have the ladies with me. Hello, Alaja Nima Akashat Zaberi in the building. How are you?
I'm fine. Yesterday was the book launch for YK's mom's book.
Yes.
And we were all there. It was really, for me, such a reflective event.
Yeah.
You know, talking about a person who was sort of a unifier, a place of strength in the midst of chaos. So the book centered around her mom, but I will allow YK to give us all the details.
Yeah.
Her mom and her dad's marriage, and you know the political, the entire life of a husband. And finally, I saw what made the kids turn out how they did.
Exactly, that's what I think.
You know, so a deliberate woman. So no matter what is happening, if I like me when I'm mad, I go focus on my kids.
Yeah.
And you know, and the outcome of it is amazing. It's a testament to today. So the book is titled Mrs. Kuti.
Yeah.
And I'm sure
and I was online, and I think part of what I got from what people were saying was the fact that, you know, she really loved that man blindly. Like, she loved him, like, selflessly, unconditionally, and, you know, she allowed a lot of things because she just trusted him so much. So it's also a love story.
I didn't see it
It's a
from
love
that, but I
story.
hear YK say that.
It's a love story.
You know, in marriages, women choose what they stand for. Some people marry their kids, no matter how you see it.
Yeah.
So she, for me, even though things were like that on the relationship side with the man, she married her kids. She married certain values, and it wasn't all about him, really, for me.
All I could
How
see
you
was
doing?
strength. I really saw strength in the whole thing.
How you doing, Amatu?
Fine. The weekend was really beautiful. Of course, you know, there are no kids and everything. So the movies I watched, I was able to put on a certain channel. I traveled around the house and came back, and it was still on that same channel. Nobody changed it. We're not struggling for remote. No, it's my turn and everything. It was just me flexing around.
They've gone back to school.
They've all gone back to school.
Nice.
So I really enjoyed myself. It was a beautiful weekend.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if I have the heart for that. I mean, I always wanted my kids to go to boarding house, but I don't know if I would. I mean, I always feel like they'll feel bad that mom is sending me away. Did you ever get that feeling when you're sending them off?
Yeah.
Sometimes, the very first time, but
Yeah.
when I came back and I saw results, I saw the way they are and all
Yeah.
of that, how
My
they
daughter cannot
matured.
wait
To go.
to be sent off.
Are you serious?
Where am I going?
Like she wants to go.
Hiding, Mariam.
I've been amazing. So yes, I was at the book reading as well. Man, it was such a busy day for me, you know, yesterday. But before then I went for this meeting. I had this really brilliant meeting and conversation. I'm so excited about that. But today is my stepson's birthday. Ohi Longe is a year older, and I'm just so very proud of this young man. He's growing up into being someone who, you know, we all love and respect. He's such a big brother, especially to my son, you know, Foge, and I am so happy, you know, to have these children in my life. And Ohi is just such a good big brother. You know, he takes the time
example.
to show up for his brother. Like, he will say, I need to see him at the, you know, at certain times in the weekend. He makes the time to come and visit his brother and spend some time with him. And I think that's just so amazing. One of your many wonderful qualities. And I wish you the very, very best of your
I must say,
birthday.
Mariam, that I think since we entered this studio, you just totally. I mean, this studio was built for Mariam.
I'm telling
Every time I've changed the background, I've changed everything. Mariam is the constant thing. You look so gorgeous.
glow.
I mean,
Thank you.
every time, like, you just, I don't understand.
And sis, with all I've been through, and yet, you know, God is good.
You just look amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Today's Tuesday. I mean, I'm just excited about life. I'm just like, you have some good meetings. I've had some few good meetings too. So I'm pretty optimistic about this year. I really, really hope that this January will set the tone for how the next few months would be. So we'll see how it goes. God willing, things will work out according to plans.
You know, it's always good when we talk about all the good things. Can we talk about, like, I had a very crazy morning this morning.
You had a crazy morning?
She had a crazy
I didn't have a crazy
So
morning.
it's just that sometimes we lament too much.
No. So, you know, people have real issues.
Yeah.
So they can relate. When they watch TV, we're all made up and perfect.
Like, it
Somebody
took
will
me
think
a
their
while.
life have scattered.
You know, there was the time that
we
you're
just
complaining
went
about
through
your
a
trailer
storm.
in the clinic every single time. You know, there time we have issues.
We still wake up to some stormy mornings and we make it. So
Today
Like,
today wasn't stormy
For me, today was, I spent a whole hour in traffic, and foolish me, Nima had called me ahead because she had gone ahead to tell me I did not pick my call.
As usual.
Excuse
I
me?
mean, I'm not,
This is the trailer
that's not a
film.
surprise. That's not a surprise. You don't
Thank
pick
you
your
from
calls.
afar.
Ha.
Thank you
Sometimes
very
I feel like
Mariam
Mariam
never
is
picks her
thinking, okay,
calls.
nah, you're not you. Looking at calls, like,
Mariam's
nah,
phone
not you.
turns off on airplane mode, I think from 8.
Are you serious?
So if you try to call
DND,
her
yes.
at that point, you have to call somebody else.
Alrighty, okay, let's go on a very short break. It's Tuesday. When we come back, we'll skim through the front pages of the papers. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Okay, we're going to start with The Nation. How federal government plans to raise 36.35 trillion naira revenue by Bagudu. 4 airlines to lift 2025 pilgrims. Oyo agog as Alaafin gets staff of office. Why Lagos Speaker Obasa was removed. ISOP kills 50 farmers in Borno. Air Force probes Zamfara accidental bombing. Anyanwu back as PDP National Secretary. And why Tinubu should intervene in AMCON and firms disputes. Okay, which story are we starting
I have
with?
that story, and it's something bordering on the abuse of rule of law. So, according to The Nation, there's a Supreme Court judgment, voiding AMCON taking over this particular business called Suru Worldwide Venture, and it was because of a loan that they're taking from the defunct Oceanic Bank, which is, on paid back, and so AMCON took it over. They've been in court. The Federal High Court had ordered that AMCON should take it over, but the company went on appeal. The appeal court voided it. The Supreme Court upheld that, and that's rule of law. That's basic. End of story. They have dismissed that the AMCON should take it over. Until date, AMCON has refused to review it or give it back to the company. Just reading it is just heartbreaking for me, because we're discussing, self-help yesterday, and when there's a court order, it's because we don't respect.
Yeah.
And it starts from leadership. Yeah. You will see some House of Assembly, court will rule A, court will rule B. They will say no, and this is just heartbreaking. AMCON is a statutory body created by law and should know better, But they are now calling on the president in the story.
I don't know how
unnecessary.
When the system should work.
The system should work. Institutions should work. But now, maybe the president now will come beyond the Supreme Court to come and talk to AMCON, because that's what they're calling.
It's our mentality.
The president should come in and intervene.
Okay, let me take your state. So yesterday, amid funfair, the people of Oyo town welcomed the Alaafin Oba Abimbola Owade to the ancient city for the very first time. This followed presentation of instruments of office to him by the governor, Seyi Makinde. Owade became the 46th Alaafin of Oyo, more than 2 years after Obalamidi Adeyemi joined his ancestors. The atmosphere in the town was electric as residents and dignitaries gathered to celebrate the significant moment. In preparation for the monarch's arrival, markets, including the historic Akeson market, was shut down. Residents lined up major roads leading up to the palace and the monarch's family house inaugurated. They were eager to catch a glimpse of the monarch. It was really exciting. I really like these monarch stories where there's a new king being crowned. And really, I think now he's going to go through the rites, now that he's been given the staff of office.
That's the one that's paying me.
So he'll knock on those 7 doors.
That's the one that's paying me. This preceding.
Yeah.
Okay, so I have the story of Zulum. All these, the new ISWAP, we have the Boko Haram, we have all of that. They are just, forming more and more groups. They said that the governor condemned Sunday's attack on farmers and fishermen by suspected members, that's the ISWAP, at Dumba Kukawa local government area. They said sources explained that the farmers negotiated payment of levies to a faction of ISWAP to enable them to access their farmlands. So these ISWAPs now, they're in groups. So they were able to negotiate with them and pay them some certain amount of money. But unknowingly to them, the other group didn't know. So those other groups, they were unaware of the agreement, ambushed and killed some of the farmers. Some of the farmers fled into the bush and all. So they said that the State's Commissioner for Information and Internal Security said that efforts by the government were underway to trace the survivors and reunite them with their families. But then the governor also called on the military to pursue and neutralize the insurgents in Dumba and other places in the Lake Chad area. He also ordered that residents should adhere to the safe corridors demarcated by security agencies to avoid such risks from happening. So he said that there's some parts of the farmland that they should be on, and there are some that the ISWAP, they're around that area, and it's not safe.
Okay. Yesterday I had taken the story of the bombing, accidental bombing or allegations of accidental bombings that happened in Zamfara after an airstrike by Nigerian Air Force. So the Nigerian Air Force has launched an investigation into the alleged bombing of vigilantes while targeting the bandits in Zamfara state. So it's meant to first ascertain the veracity of the allegation, the outcome of which will be duly communicated to inform and reassure the public. So the operation, they said was successfully eliminated several bandits and also led to recovery of some kidnapped victims. But then the Nigerian Air Force started hearing, the allegations of the bombings of civilians, and they're saying that those who were affected by this bomb, the Saturday hit, was the Zamfara Community Protection Guards, ZCPG, local vigilantes and residents. And as I took the story yesterday, sadly 16 people, civilians died from that. So they're going to look into it and determine whether it was true or not. It's really sad, because we know that our military was working hard to protect these people, and then sometimes this collateral damage happens, and it's quite sad.
Moving on now to The Punch. Inside story, how hubris intrigues power play sealed Obasa's fate. Depots raise petrol price to 950 naira per litre. Again, Boko Haram strikes in Borno, kills 40 and abducts scores. Port rehabilitation delayed despite $700 million loan. Tariff hike. Telcos, ICT firms owe banks 1.69 trillion. Gospel singer arrested with severed core members' head in Nasarawa. Coronation date fixed as Alaafin designates guest staff of office. Tax bills, Senate meets federal government teams, plans public hearing. Okay, which story?
Okay, so I have the story of the increase in the price of petrol. As they said, the depots have increased their prices. They said the loading cost of premium, that's petrol, products at the depots increased on Monday. They gathered that the marketers raised their prices on the depot from 43 or 4.74% due to the rising cost of crude oil. Meanwhile, globally, the benchmark of crude oil has rose up to 79.76 per barrel. They also said that, so they now listed some of the depots, like Swift Depot. It increased its price from 907 to 950 per litre. We have Wasbab Depot from 909 to 950. We also have Sahara Depot from 910 to 950. And also, they also said that the Dangote refinery, they said they sold petrol to their retailers at 899 naira, but they are selling at 923 naira per litre, despite picking the products at that low rate. They also said that for diesel, that the prices for Stock Gap Depot, they increased their price from 1,080 naira to 1,150. So they are now saying that we should expect that prices of petrol is going to go up. So definitely goods and services are going to, prices of goods and services are going to go up.
I bought a pint of tomatoes, 5,000 naira yesterday. Before I had bought like 14,000, then 12,000. Yesterday I was just, so tomatoes and
There's
even
also seasonal.
Yeah, I think it says now.
Yeah,
The peppers it was quite affordable.
How about onions? Did you buy
Onions? The
Has it
paint
onions
is 10,000 naira.
still? Okay.
Yeah, and
It's
yeah,
still high.
Still
Still
10,000, still
Still
high.
high.
Let's go on a short break. When we come back, we continue with the review. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Much better. Thanks for staying with us. Still reviewing Punch. What's the story?
Okay,
so I
let
have-
me
okay.
take port rehabilitation delayed despite $700 million loan. So they said despite securing a $700 million loan from for the rehabilitation of the Apapa and Tinkan Island ports in Lagos, the federal government has yet to commence work on these two major seaports. So in April, the paper had reported that Nigerian Ports Authority secured a $700 million loan from Citibank for the rehabilitation of, the above-mentioned ports. The loan was funded by the UK Export Finance and Export Credit Agency. They also said MPA had also, opened discussions with another funding agency to finance the upgrading of eastern ports, that's including Calabar, Warri, Onne, and Rivers ports, as well as the reconstruction of Escravos breakwater. And at the time, the then managing director of MPA, Mohammed Bello Koko, said that the mandate letter will be sent to the Debt Management Office for final review and approval. Anyway, to cut the long story short is, despite the loan that they have received, nothing is being done yet. No rehabilitation work has taken off yet. And so we're hoping that after this is being read out in the news, maybe we would be hearing from MPA or federal government why work hasn't commenced.
Okay.
Okay, so I have a human interest story and it's a femicide story. So this young man, known as Ajayi, has been arrested. Timileyin Ajayi has been arrested for killing his girlfriend and dismembering her body. At the time, he was found throwing a bag into a river, and he was found forced to retrieve the bag, and the head of the girl was found fresh in that bag. The bike man who had carried him had alerted someone. The story also says the church member had suspected him, and at some point the church member and the bike man got a crowd of people to accost him. By the time the body was found, the head was found with him. Of course, a mob had decided to attack him, but the story also carries that one Nansel, I'm suspecting this is a police spokesperson, said that the suspect was rescued by them, and the time they found him and rescued him, the mob had, of course, started beating him. So right now he's in the hospital receiving treatment, and thorough investigation has commenced. The girl, whose body parts were also found at his residence, filled into 2 sacks of bag. Her name was also mentioned. I'm sorry I can't mention because of her parents have been contacted, and she has been identified. She's a 24-year-old NYSC member serving in Abuja.
This is
a painful one. So
this is
my heart is with her
heart
parents right
wrenching.
now.
Come back to that story.
And
Let
the
me
video
just-
is being circulated. Please, as much as possible, if you
somebody's
can
child.
delete that video, because her parents would never be able to find
Father in
closure.
heaven.
Did they
with
mention
that
that he's a
video.
gospel singer?
Yes,
He mentioned. I
it.
just wanted to just avoid certain.
Okay, let's move on quickly. It is a very heart-wrenching story. Our tax bill matter. So yesterday, the Senate and the federal government, led by Attorney General of the Federation, Lateef Fagbemi, SAN, finally met on Monday to iron out all the gray areas in the 4 tax reforms sent by the President to the National Assembly. Amid the controversy generated by the bills, the President last year had expressed his willingness to pass these 4 bills and to review the current tax bills. So the 2 teams met on Monday, and now they came out and they said that, emerging from the meeting, Senator Abba Moro said that there will be a public hearing afterwards very soon, just to reiterate what was agreed. However, the chairman of FIRS himself was saying that all the issues, that's Zach Adedeji, was saying that all the issues that were the contentious issues have been ironed out, and things so far, everything is smooth, and they believe that after the public hearing, all the various stakeholders would be able to come to an agreement. We want this thing to be passed as soon as possible so that we can actually begin to benefit from the dividends of this new reform. Okay, moving on quickly now to Daily Sun. PDP crisis worsens as protests rock party secretariat over secretaryship. Why National Grid will continue to collapse, says Minister. Clark accuses governors of manipulating legislative processes and stifling local government autonomy. Waivers, National Assembly panel probes 4 trillion naira revenue shortfall. Jubilation in Lagos Assembly as Obasa's impeachment. Oshu confirms arrest of over 100 suspected terrorists. And Zamfara, NAF makes U-turn, probes accidental air strikes on civilians. Okay, which story are we taking?
Okay, so let me quickly address the Minister for Power, who was before the House yesterday, the Senate Committee on Power for the 2025 Budget Defense, and he addressed why we've been having these grid collapses. He said that until, that's in his words, the national grid will continue to collapse until insecurity in the north is addressed to make way for repairs of the Ugwachi-Bauchi-Makurdi line, according to the minister. This, for me, is such as an indictment of the executive from the executive, unnecessary. If you think that had to be done, memo the president and get the right necessary security that you need to go and fix it and maybe man it.
That could be happening, but he owes us the responsibility to tell us what the issue is. Because
But you know this
we've been
grid,
skirting around what is the problem.
This
now he's
administration
telling
has
you the
suffered.
core issue.
No, he didn't tell us.
He's telling us that
he
is
indicted. He's indicted.
He's part of his
principal.
telling us.
No, it's not necessary. How many memos has his principal gotten on this particular?
We don't know.
What if now he's telling the Senate as if the Senate can't provide the security he needs?
No? It's a conversation. It's an interesting conversation. But I also know that Nigerians are constantly asking, "Tell us where is the loophole, or where the clog is."
They even ask if there's an alternative.
But he has been mentioning the fact that it's the insecurity that is stopping him from fixing all of those things.
So federal government should fix that.
They should do something about it.
Another story.
Yeah, so I have the 100. The Osun states, the Osun confirms arrest for over 100 suspected. And they said the Osun State has confirmed the arrest of over 100 suspected terrorists who stormed the state for alleged bomb-making training. They said they got a place and they started trying to start making bombs and all of that. But they were apprehended. The reason why they caught them was because it was the immigration service that caught them. They said they didn't have traveling documents, and that was what, made them, got them caught. They said the security source said that suspects were arrested and taken away for immigration officers. They said the state commissioner, Kolapo Alimi, said the suspects have taken normal steps on the matter, and that they didn't disclose it earlier because the government has been on top of, they've been proactive and have been handling the issue so far. So right now they are still at the custody of the security people. Sorry.
So yesterday, Elder Statesman Chief Edwin Clark has called for the immediate suspension of the Nigerian Governors Forum, citing his deviation from his founding principles and his role in undermining the constitutional governance. In an open letter on January 13th, he described the NGF as a once noble initiative, has now become a notorious cabal. According to them, they're prioritizing political power over public service. He argued that it has since morphed into a bloc capable of challenging the federal executive and manipulating legislative process, thereby stifling local government autonomy. And many of us have discussed this over and over about how important for us to actually implement the local government autonomy. He criticized the governors for reducing state assemblies to mere extensions of their own administrative entities, saying that they're supposed to be an independent body of thought. Now, the NGF was created to serve as a bridge between the tiers of government, but right now it has become a cabal that is stifling something such as important as the local government autonomy. So hopefully, let's see. Our final paper, let's see how much time we have. Vanguard. 21 million housing gap, 5 trillion naira needed for 2.7 million new housing annually for the next 10 years. Why we impeach Obasa, changed house leadership, says Lagos lawmakers. FG raises inmates feeding to 1,125 naira per day. Legal action against unruly Ibom air passenger to prevent reoccurrence, says NCAA. Coast clear for tax reform bills in Senate, as Abamoro FRS chairman says. Dangote, Port Harcourt, 700 refineries need over 770,000 barrels per day. And federal government to backlist 18 banks owing telcos amongst 1,200 billion naira on USSD. Okay, which story?
So yesterday, drama unfolded at the House of Assembly in Lagos, and the Speaker of the House, Mudashiru Obasa, has been impeached as Speaker. Also, the Clerk of the House has been removed as Clerk as well. And immediately, they had the Deputy Speaker, appointed into the position of Speaker. Honorable Miranda is now Speaker, as well as Fatai Mojid as Deputy Speaker. Now, they cited grounds for the removal 32 out of all 40 members of the House voted in a voice vote. We no want, we know they do again. They said they had a gross misconduct, poor leadership, perpetual lateness to legislative sessions, meetings, high-handedness, lack of regard for honorable members, gross abuse of office and privileges, intimidation, oppression of honorable members by citing members against one another. They also said that they had a 44 billion financial appropriation issue against him, and they voted unanimously for his removal. They also had some allegations of vehicle allocation within the House against him. And this is the longest serving speaker in history of Lagos. It's been there 10 years.
10 years.
Of course, at some point, you get comfortable. I remember reading on Sarah Reporter about 4 years back about a financial misappropriation, and I was wondering why the House didn't do anything about it. So now they're citing that it's not, but I know that there's a strong something.
All right.
Something
Any other story in Vanguard? We have to wrap up soon.
Okay, so I have a short story on the inmates. They said the federal government has approved 1,125 daily feeding allowance for inmates of the correctional centers. They said that before the amount that they were giving them was 750, but now it has been increased. Meanwhile, the federal government has sent monitoring teams from the national headquarters to go and monitor and make sure that this is effective. They say so far, statistics have shown that that they have 48,932 inmates in custody, and all are awaiting trials. Like I said, it's a short story.
Okay. All right, that's all we can take on Front Page Review this morning. Let's go on a short break. When we come back, we want our hot topic of today. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So, the Nigerian police put out a statement yesterday saying that anyone who refuses to assist a police officer in danger may be fined 100,000 naira or sentenced to jail under the Police Act 2020. They had warned Nigerians that refusal to assist police officers under attack could land them in jail in a series of tweets on Sunday. The first PRO, Muyiwa Diaby, was saying this. He cited provisions of the Police Act 2020 on the need to aid officers in distress. Adejobi's statement comes amid growing public scrutiny of police-citizens relations following a viral video that captured a heated confrontation between a woman and a police officer. Now, this was what was extracted, but the article said so much more than the part that Nigerians could be paying 100,000 naira if they do not assist. That's just like one of the various levels of that act. What led to this act was the fact that lots of Nigerians always resist arrests. They find it easy to confront. Once they see a police officer, instead of, first of all, being patient to hear what the issue is or the allegation or the charge is, they are quick to resist the arrest or try to confront the police. And the police have seen this trend over years and say they're not coming to let you know that it is actually illegal for you to challenge a police officer who is statutorily doing his own job. Also, if you see a police in distress and you're not able to assist, then that also you could be fined for that. Now, of course, Nigerians didn't find that really palatable. What are your own thoughts on this? You can call us on 090-241-63440. You can also send us messages on Twitter, on X, and also on YouTube. We'll be happy to hear your thoughts. So there are different levels to this conversation. There's a level of how we treat our police officers. There's a level of how we engage them disrespectfully many times, and also how they also assault or disrespect the citizens, and also the fact that some of them are in distress, and we are part of those who try to undermine the authority of the Nigerian police. What are your thoughts on this? So I don't know which angle you would like to start with.
Okay.
Nima.
Start with the lawyer, of course.
So these are not known laws. You're not supposed to obstruct the, justice when a police officer is seen carrying out his duty. That, I think everybody knows it basic in civic classes. That we took social studies classes then. And so the Act reads, Section 197 of the Criminal Code reads, resisting public officers. Any person who in any manner obstructs or resists any public officer while engaged in the discharge or attempted discharge of the duties of his office under any order, act, law, or statute, or obstructs or resists any person while engaged in the discharge or attempted discharge of any duty imposed on him by an order, act, law, or statute is guilty of a misdemeanor and liable to imprisonment for 2 years. Section 42 of the Police Act then says a person is bound to assist a judge, magistrate, or police officer or any other person reasonably demanding his aid in arresting or preventing the escape of a suspect whom the judge, magistrate, or police officer or any other person is authorized to arrest. And
so the part,
I wanted to read
the section.
We then break them.
Okay. The segment which is on contention is the section 99, which is the last paragraph, which I can read here. It says, when a person is called upon to aid or assist a police officer who, while in his own duty, while in the discharge of his duty, assaulted or resisted or in danger of being assaulted, and the person refuses or neglects to aid and assist the person commits an offense and is liable on conviction to a fine of 100,000 naira or imprisonment for a term of 3 weeks or months, so 3 months or so.
Which was signed by the first PRO.
So you're saying that if you see a police officer in distress,
no, when you are called upon,
you are called upon. So,
to
for
aid.
example, I'm in the police officer, I'm trying to arrest you, right? And you are resisting arrest or whatever it is, you're giving me issues. And you're
no. When you resist is a different one. When, for instance, you want to arrest me, now come Ramatu. Okay, let's say, for instance, you caught me in the scene of a crime in Miriam's house.
Okay.
And you have locked me in. But I have called Ramatu.
Who's the police?
No,
Who's the friend?
and you have asked Ramatu to man the door. And I have asked Ramatu, don't worry, I will say to you, Ramatu walks away.
You're complicit then.
Yes. So she might not necessarily have intended to commit any crime with me, but it's Nima that I know.
But my understanding...
She gets to Miriam's house, sees that they've locked me in where I committed the crime. And then you have said, man the door, so I call for backup or something. You went to get the bus, but Ramatu then walks away, open the door
Miriam
for
being
me.
the police officer.
Slightly. Miriam's house. I'm just using your house.
No, I need to understand how a police will call you
As a
to
police
give
officer.
assistance.
Ramatu
This is a normal...
was a neighbor or something.
Okay.
And then the police officer has arrested me at your house with the crime. I'm talking about a familiar person now. I'm at your house, I've committed the crime, but I'm familiar, I'm friends with Ramatu. And then is that Ramatu that was the only available person the police officer can find to man the gate while backup is coming. Maybe he wanted to rescue the next building. And then Ramatu then looks at her and says, Ramatu, remember, it's me, Nima, you know where we are coming from, and all of that. And then she just cleverly says, okay, I won't do anything, just slightly open the door and walks away.
Okay, that's one.
That's
But
one.
two, let me tell you the one that
comes to mind,
likely to happen. You see a police officer trying to arrest someone, and they get into
physical fight.
Yes. And you are standing there, and people are hailing the person that is beating police.
Or sometimes
that's what I see. Like, good for him, beat him, finish him, you know? So is that a case where you are asked to help, and then if you're all standing there and hailing the perpetrator, will you all be fined 100,000 naira? So those are...
Which one is your own?
Yeah, so my own, I'm just thinking that, okay, like the perspective of Miriam's own, yes. So I'm now saying that, is it that they want you to support the police in the fight and everything to help fight the person, or
so, and again, and that scenario is that when I am a police officer, I'm trying to arrest you.
Okay.
And I realize that you have come with a few people. And I'm not saying, I'm getting overwhelmed here. And I see some private citizens and say, please help me call the others. Help me run to the police station and call me back up. And those ones don't answer. And say, I beg, please, it's not my work. And they move away.
Why?
Now, are those guys liable? Can they be held? So these are questions Nigerians are asking. Because if you say that if I don't help a police officer, do I get arrested for it?
I think they need to let us know
they
how
need to give us
There are several instances.
Context.
Nigeria knows when they... See, in fact, when you read the comments on all of this, you will know that Nigerians know that they would never assist a police officer in arresting somebody except the crime is against them, which is sad.
That's sad. No, that's not
Number
acceptable.
one is that you don't even want to waste your own time. Imagine that you have assisted a police officer and then you're roped into a matter. So the police need to clean up a lot of things. I liked, what's his name, Olumuyiwa, Adejobi, to do better than just write all these things. You know, your business is also to give the police an image.
Yeah.
I see how he engages people on X.
Social media,
You know, when he writes out and Nigerians are coming, he will have time to be giving them the gbas kind of. That's not what a PRO is for. Your business is the image of the police. Now, there's a misconception of the police that is almost widely accepted. And it's painful. You know, people, in fact, I would not, waiting police do for me, and that's the truth. You'll be in a situation and a police officer is seated there, whether in uniform or not with his ID, he will not put his mouth. The few times I have been in a public transport and there was an argument, I remember back then in the early days of you, I used to take public transport from Mile 2 or First Gate to Trade Fair. I remember one particular, it was a military man that stepped in and said, you can't continue harassing this woman and her hijab. And it wasn't even about his religion. It wasn't Muslim. I just sat through that harassment. This woman kept, you would give your life, you are going to air fire, dragging my veil. We're having a fight. I was going to fight, of course. I said, madam, sit down. And he stopped the bus and got her out of the bus. If you want to go mad on your own. You can proceed. It wasn't about that. Every few times you have such instances, the police will they are the checkpoint, and there's a problem down there. It wasn't reported. They will face their frauds. They'll tell you come to the station.
I have a story of a policeman who was talking about the fact that he was in a crime scene and he was thanking God that the perpetrator did not see his ID card that he's a police officer. If not, they would have killed him like they killed the others. So he was so happy that, thank God, though, that he put his ID card inside his shoes. And they searched him because they told them that there's a police here. And they couldn't find that he was just praying to God. And he was giving a testimony that he saw that thank God that
Is that a bad thing, though?
Now,
if you're a lone police officer in the midst of...
what I'm saying that as a Nigerians should feel safer.
Yes.
If I say there's a police officer in our midst.
Yes.
So once I know that I am a police officer, that should
share
some kind of fear to the perpetrator that there's a police officer. Right now, it doesn't.
It doesn't.
Nigerians don't feel safer that you're here with us. So even they don't feel safer with their badge.
Matters like
so for the law
give.
to be the law to be effective, right? They need to change the mindset of a lot of Nigerians, because what we believe about police is a lot. We don't see them as our friends. We see them as people that they are ready to come and, like, for example, like me now, I've been having issues. Sometimes I have issues in my place of work. Maybe I have theft issue or something. I get scared of going to the police station to go and report this case, because I know that when I go to report the case, I know that at the end of the day, they are going to be asking me to bring money, you know, and all. So I already have this mindset that, look, I can't help a policeman, because I know that when I have issues, they are not going to come in for me. They won't come through. I've seen a situation where people were seated and a case, there was one case that happened. They were looking for one person, and the person was sitting amongst, he was amongst his friends. They packed all of them and they took them, they went to go and lock them up. And, the person that was guilty, that committed the offense, he was supposed to be the only one that they would lock up, but they locked up with his friends. And they said that, no, it's because they know that as you are his friend, you too, you will have come, you are going to commit such a crime and all of that. So at the end of the day, they just need to change the mindset of a lot of Nigerians.
Yeah. Okay, so when we started this conversation, I was going to be like on police side because of a particular incident that happened many years ago. I have a friend who, not a police officer, but a naval officer, and she was in Mufti. We were both, we had gone to the market, and then there was a crowd gathering, shouting and screaming. And immediately she was leaving to go. I'm like, this is a dangerous situation. Why are you headed? She says, no, because of my office. When I see something like this, I need to intervene. And I thought, for me, I just thought it was not the smartest thing, because you're just alone. You don't know what it is. You know those boys and everything, everybody was. And she was willing to put herself in harm's way because of her office. And so for me, I feel that if police officers or security personnel or military or whatever, if they're willing to put themselves out in situations like this for our safety, it is only natural and it's only fair that we'll reciprocate the gesture. But of course, listening to everyone now, it reminded me, Auntie, you're in Nigeria, you're in Lagos, things happen here, and we have seen it too often, where a police officer is supposed to step in and he doesn't, or the police officer takes the side of the wicked person.
Yeah.
What do you call them? The perpetrator, whatever. You know that this is the victim. You know that this person deserves fairness. But just because maybe this person look like he can, yes, influential or can give you something, you take, or he has more mouth for whatever reason, you take knowingly. Take the side of the person that deserves to be punished.
I am a spy officer, and I took that course because I really wanted to understand the laws of the Nigerian police, and I realized that they do have laws, and they do seek to protect Nigerian citizens. However, of course, there are quite a number of people who have this unscrupulous, there are unscrupulous elements amongst them. But the truth is that there's a part of the Nigerian police that we've not talked about, the disorderliness of the Nigerian citizen. Because even this last December, it happened with a lot of the IJBs. Many of them will be confronting Nigerian police. Things you know you cannot do where you're coming from. They were practically, once you're stopped by the Nigerian police, they get immediately confrontational. So my issue is that we as a people too need to know how to talk. Because if we want them, nobody's going to switch on a mindset change. It's not a plug. It's a both ways, a two-way street where both of us must continue to see the need for us to respect them, and that respect will be reciprocal.
So this is not even in defense of any Nigerian. It's a bad habit for a law officer to stop you, and you already feel that you need to confront him. Myself and my driver will do this argument every day. Yeah. And yesterday morning, the police officers at Orile were stopping us. Park. I've said to him, I've spoken. And then grudgingly, he kept, they stop you, you're still in the middle of the road saying, yes, yes. The first thing is that you clear out of traffic, you don't back up traffic, and then you have your conversation. Whatever they want to do at that point, you have the conversation. But he likes this, he does it all the time. He will stay in the middle, and when he tried, I said, would you park? And then when he parks, he says one of them has said he should go. I didn't look back, and we went. And then at Igomu, they used bike and gun, stop us back.
Imagine.
Told him, I said, since I have been driving myself, the only thing I know how to do is clear. I always clear. We can carry ourselves to your police station at the end of the day. I have been to road safety office, I've been to police stations, I've been everywhere when I was alone in my car. I don't expect it now. And that confrontation, the man just saw that I was like, that was why they left us. Checked our vehicles, checked our whatever. They said we look. I look like a armed robber. I look like an armed robber. Did they say something? Because they stopped us. He was suspicious. They look all out at the back. They look like they have even kidnapped me. They had to check. And I told him, always park. They are human beings, and you have a conversation. You don't attempt to provoke. The moment they are stopping us, somebody will flag off a phone. I'm not saying that there are no reasons to have done that. But the moment you start to do that, then you start to confront because you want to make content.
Because also, we forget that as Nigerians, and this is, okay, let me go on a short break. When you come back, because there's a point I want to make, and I want to make it properly. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. I'm one for reorientation. One of the reasons why we created this show was because we understood that this show can actually be a driver to help change the minds of Nigerians. It's so sad that 12 years on, there's still quite a number of millions of Nigerians whose mindset hasn't really changed. And part of what you use to change society is media. And what Ramatu said was very profound, where that we need to change mindset. People need mind, but you can't switch it on. And how do you switch up mindset? It's from media, from communication, and I always use Hollywood as an opportunity, as a Nollywood, as a platform. Because somebody, maybe I shouldn't say somebody, maybe I or somebody who wants to produce content. It's one thing to produce movies about marriages, falling in love, the betrayal, housewife beating husband, all those things. But the real societal change comes from where you take our laws, the Police Act, you study it, and then you interpret that into a movie such that a Nigerian knows that if you see a police officer, you don't even do it. Nobody teaches a child in any other country how to do it in school. No, it's when the society and everybody has seen it in the daily lives, where you respect the fireman, you respect the police officer. Those things are seen with the people, and that's how children begin to imbibe those things. So media in different ways need to start doing the hard work of reading our books, understanding it, interpreting it into our content, our movies. I see all these your skit makers. If you have started, which I really love, if you lawyers have started these things where they're interpreting the laws, we need more of those things, where Nigerians understand what is right and what is not right.
I like, I do, and I agree with you that is a solution. You know, I always agree with that. But also, change of mindset beyond media, beyond what we get to watch, and curated information. It has to do with behavior on ground. I mean, who better than Hollywood in curating proper stories? But the black man on the street does not trust the policeman in America. Absolutely. And that's because the behavior on the street is different from what is meant to be. So we need to make movies for the police officers as well, so that they learn how to engage Nigerians. The truth is, the reason why Nima's driver would act the way that he does is because he's been in situations, one, he doesn't know better, two, he's been in situations, head of situations, has family members that have gone through those situations where it was better that they ran off than that they cleared and parked. So when he now has this conversation, this particular incident with Nima, he has learned behavior, real life behavior. I park, they ask me questions, and then I move. Do you understand? So if behavior is done better, so this idea is not just for Nigerians, but also for the police force as well, and all the other.
Let me take Hassan. Good morning, Hassan.
Actually.
Thanks for calling.
Everybody.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Mr. Hassan. Happy New Year.
Thank you. Please, Nigerian police should work on their image.
Can't hear you again.
Volume in the studio.
Nigerian police should work on their image.
Okay.
We have very few good police officers, and the system is saturated with much more police officers that are not good for the Nigerian people. And the law is for the people, not people for the law. You don't create a law, you don't enact a law to force people to obey it. No. Improve on your image. People will identify with Nigerian police. You don't have to call them. If the police is Nigerian police and it's for Nigerian people, people will support the police. It's not about enacting a law to force you or to coerce anybody. It's never done that way. Nigerian people are law-abiding people. Please be good to Nigerians, and Nigerians will reciprocate by being good to Nigerian police. Good morning.
Can I ask you a question? The police officers, are they Cameroonians? They're not Nigerians.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So I want to just quickly, because while Mariam was speaking, an idea came to mind. I completely agree with Mariam that a movie there should be a piece of documentary existing for the police officers to watch. Sometimes some people are visual learners. I'll be waiting to talk about they call those things. You know, so within the police offices, number one, motivate them by having proper offices, not those dungeons that they call police offices. You walk into a police station and the entire hall all the way to DPO's office is dark until you reach the office before you see lights. Exactly. You should stop. The PRO that is talking knows these problems, but he's conveniently sitting in Abuja and writing tweets, and that's not what all PRO work is about. They should be given a proper sanitized environment to work in. Yes. Then they should have videos, TV placed on the wall, showing documentaries on instances, different instances, using the Police Act, replaying different instances with police officers in uniform on how to engage civilians. Because most of them, when they come there, the one DPO will tell them, go and get money. They will get on the road, all they do is stop cars and get money. And we know this problem. But these people they are not strangers, they are Nigerians. And the system continues to reinvent itself from the Olokpa days of the colonial masters till date. They only serve their superiors. They don't serve citizens. They don't understand that, there's dignity in serving citizens, there's reward. And the few times they've been rewarded, they just call it a right. So any other person that comes and does not remember to reward, his case is thrown under the carpet. We know these problems. And I think that this Miriam's idea of having videos circulating in a properly lit up offices, not the one, there was one police station in Ojo back then, and I lost my wallet. My school receipt was there, my school ID card was there, and in school then you have to go and get. So we went to the police station to do a police report. They said we should wait. DPO is not around, and I did the mistake. I saw one old stool and sat on it. Oh goodness!
No! Don't
you
tell
show
me you fell.
Pepe. You sat on my chair. I looked at the stool again. Officer, I'm sorry. This is not a chair. You call my. This is a stool. It's rough wood, everything. And I know that person is completely demotivated, and that's why I would react
I like that.
Let
me take this call. It's been holding. Jide, thanks for calling. You're live.
I sat on my chair.
Good morning,
good
Jide.
morning.
Yes, morning.
Yeah, good morning, Mrs. Morayo. Hello, good morning.
You're live. Go ahead, Jide.
Yes, ma'am. Please, I'm calling from my. I want to cite a scenario. Something happened, I think, last 2 weeks in my school. I'm not going to be precise. There was a car crash, and some people lost their life. So after the following day or the 2 days, the police, the tactical squad from secondary book started raiding innocent members, even mechanics, plumbers. They were raiding them within the estate. They will take them to their station. After doing their investigation, these innocent people will be billed. They will take them to do the bill 70,000, 100,000. We had the same issues. So in a scenario where, okay, now an innocent person also coming out, do you expect people that have the same experience that the graded innocent to assist them? So it is when they do their rights duties, we don't need to tell civilians to help out, because they will do this because they know that what they are doing is right, and it's helping to do.
Thank you, Jide. I think for this, I will concede to that argument, because I've always been one to say, listen, the citizens must understand. But I think you're right in the sense that the police first must actually act the way you want to be treated. So just like you said, they need that physical change. They need that even mental reconditioning of their minds, totally, because it's when they start acting as responsible citizens as they should, maybe Nigerians can see them differently and say, okay, these guys deserve some respect. Because there are ways in which you approach citizens, and there are ways you shouldn't approach citizens, and many of them don't know.
Yeah, so I agree with like what Mr. Hassan said. I quite agree with him, because sometimes some of these policemen, if you see their uniforms themselves does not even present. It's not well, they dress shabbily, they dress anyhow. And then number two, again, sometimes they come to work, they're a bit, will I say, drunk? Yep. They're a bit drunk, they're on the road, and then they stay on the middle of the road and stop cars. This one, when you do that, I just have a
see
feeling
that in a while. I know that.
They stand in front on the road and stop cars.
Was the area they killed that lawyer?
Yes, so they'll stop a car, and then we Nigerians, we need to know the documents that police, when they stop you, let's know the documents that they ask for. They ask for everything, and once you don't have that one video, it becomes a problem.
So a police officer, the
moment a policeman stops you, by the time you go maybe like 2 kilometers away from there, there's road safety. Road safety again is asking for another thing. So you find out that you have just paid money here, you go there again and you pay another. Let's know the documents that police wants. When they stop you, okay, what are the documents that you need?
Actually, these things are on their websites. We just don't seek that information. We want them to come and give us that. No, because we have it, because we've had these guys come on the show a few times, and they will tell you categorically this, but you're not supposed to collect. Yes.
I sometimes drive with a dealer's number because of my husband's business, and police officers will stop a dealer's number. You have to show them a dealer's certificate to verify a valid one. They don't have the means. So if I made it up on a system with graphic work, they wouldn't know. Because you pay to the MVA within the states in question. And on my way to Kwara, somebody stopped me in Ogun State and told me that the car model should be on a dealer's number. And I'm wondering, are you a police officer? And he was insisting. I said, Oga, this thing has been for years. It's been over 8 years that it's been in use. It's not done that way. I pay in Lagos State. And this is the valid one, the original one I'm showing you. He said that they did not write murder, and I found that he was just being mischievous. He wanted to get money. So they will provoke you. The Nigerian police has documents they ask. I think that circulated video that Miriam have talked about, Miriam should go and do consultant for them because they need it. They should have those videos on every section of the Police Act and what a police officer requires of you when your car is stopped, what a police officer is empowered to do. I can verify that they are not empowered. If the road safety stop you with a fake driver's license, they can verify it. The moment they put it into their system, they will tell you this was not done at the road safety office. I've had that instance twice. So we know that I asked the police officer one time when he was, I said, my paper is under process, but you can verify it. And he knew he couldn't verify it and said, no, madam, we're going to office. So what were you going to lock me up for? The infraction at the agency where I paid to government, the receipt is showing and you're insisting, should I produce it for you? When I produce it for you, will you know the difference? So a lot of training and retraining has to go in.
Yeah. Let's go to very short because when we come back, we continue this conversation. Stay with us, we'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing the Nigerian police, and we had started the conversation from the fact that police were saying in the press release that Nigerians who don't assist or who's called on to assist the police and refuse to can be liable. You're going to say something?
Yeah, it's just something that happened while we're at the old studio. I remember we had a police officer come in, one of their bosses, and we mentioned particularly factory tint windows. And he says, no, they're not meant to stop you for that. That day, after that conversation, I'm telling you, like there was, I mean, Nollywood cannot write this script. I drive out and turn around, and the police officer stopped me for exactly factory tint. I could not believe it. I called Nima as per lawyer. No, she was shouting, she said, I'm not meant to stop you. I said, oh God, did you watch the show? Your son was there. He said, you cannot stop me. He said, anything for the boys.
These factory things, they keep going up. Yes, it's right.
Yes,
no,
one day is right. Another day is
wrong.
But they even have a permit for it.
They
actually have a permit.
We don't produce cars.
So I think
this directive would have been given to the companies that were producing if we were producing our own cars. You know? To not tint.
So if there's confusion within the police as regards certain things, how would Nigerians understand? So there's a lot of sanitization that needs to be done within and outside.
Exactly. Let me take some messages on YouTube. Sir Call Michael says, Nima, which dignity in serving citizens? How much is their salary? But thankfully, somebody replied to him. He said, imagine, continue and said, try and visit the police barracks. You will be more empathetic to their plight. It's quite but one other viewer now said, imagine them doing their work with dignity, no matter the poor salary. That is the education we're talking about. No matter what I earn, if I carry myself with this, you will tell people how to address you. The way you carry yourself is how people will address you. You know, Ramatu gave the instance of a police officer drunken. I had such an experience. I got out of my car, I was screaming. This police officer was with his buttons apart in front of Lasuden. I think he's dictated to one of the police stations in Ojo. And he brought out a gun to stop a car for stop and search. Stop, stop, stop. And then when I got closer, because I was like, why are you dressed like this? He was like, is that what I stopped you for? Bring your car papers. I gave it to another officer, and I followed him. I kept asking, why are you like this? And why do you stop this car with a gun? Do you see armed robbers? Do I look like I'm an armed robber? Why are you pointing a gun at me? You know, we were having that confrontation before one of them recognized me. I would take a picture of him, and I said, I will call your PR. I will make sure that I get across to the PRO. But this is not how the image of a police officer should be. And you're on an inter-country road. Anybody can be coming from Cotonou and say, this is the image of Nigerian police that they know. And so must carry themselves. There are senior police officers that are friends of mine. When I see them, oh goodness. Even I want to be police.
Yeah.
They are so well dressed. There's a friend of mine, any money, if you are watching,
uniform.
any money is a senior police officer. And if you see my friend, the way she dresses,
That's what I'm saying.
the way
So-
she speaks.
Yeah.
No.
So
you will want
the
to be a police
sanitization
officer.
would take time. We all sorts of people. These are years of decadence. This is years of neglect, welfare. So
But there are
we need
officers
to
within
also
the force
understand.
who decide
exactly.
to
So
do
just-
different, to do better.
Yeah.
So in
Regardless.
spite of the... Okay,
That
sorry,
we
take
call
your call.
Peter. Thanks for calling.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Good people of your views.
Yes,
you
sir.
guys are doing a very wonderful job.
Thank
Kudos
you,
to
sir.
you. God bless you all. You see, I think the problem with Nigeria is in two phases. One, we need to know that these police officers we're talking about are also members of our individual respective families.
Thank you.
Number one prerequisite that you must fulfill to be a police officer in Nigeria is that you must be a Nigerian by birth. That member of your family, that member of my family that is now a police officer, how was he raised? How was he brought up? Background check. We don't do that. The only thing is when the moment they become a police officer, we don't see them as human beings again. I'm talking as somebody who is very close to some of these, uniform men, be it police, be it custom officers, and what have you. Background check matters. Somebody who is already a pocket picker before joining the police, now he has undergone training. Now he has license to bear arms. Are you telling me we have not trained an armed robber? We succeeded in training an armed robber. We don't look at that aspect. Again, the aspect of societal, thing is there. Between you and I, Nigeria has one of the best police in the world. I want you to know, let me tell you, the business of law enforcement is never friendly anywhere in the world. People go to the Bible. Zacchaeus, the tax collector, when Jesus Christ wanted to visit him, people persecuted the man. I said, Zacchaeus of all persons, to enforce law, because we as human beings, naturally we don't want to conform to some rules and regulations. Are you getting my point now? Yeah. And I want to tell us, yes, there are bad eggs in the police. I am myself that I'm talking to you now. I have been a victim of police harassment, illegal detention in the past. Nevertheless, the truth be said, you understand me now? Majority of our members of society are not aware. This woman on hijab, I forgot her name. Sorry. The other time she was reading out some sections compel citizens. These laws were not made by the police. Now compel citizens to render assistance to the police. How many of our people out there are aware of such laws? It is both sides thing. It's not only lopsided with the police. And lastly, let me tell you something. You can't give what you don't have. Let the public allow police to do their work. We should stop seeking for help for our family members who have committed crime. We should stop looking for a way to bail out criminals from police hands. We should stop offering bribes. Let police do their work. You understand me now? Most of the time, 80% of people that are paid to the case of where you hear police collect bribes. The criminals and their relatives are the first set of people to offer. But you never hear I offer police bribes. What you hear most times is police collected bribes. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Peter. I think Peter really put this from our perspective.
So earlier I was going to say that, you know what, in spite, while talking about this, what makes me really sad is that there are some police officers that are doing the right thing, but maybe there are so few, or as you know, one thing with bad eggs is that the stench is quite overwhelming. So no matter the good work that the good ones are doing, it still affects them all. And so, and I say that because of the example someone sent, where the person was saying, have you seen where they stay, the barracks? Honestly, I have seen some of those the barracks, and they look horrible. No human being should live in, in those circumstances. But there are Nigerians who are living in abject poverty. They are coming from places that are disadvantaged as well, and they are decent human beings, but they are not wearing the uniform. So it's not. This is Nigeria. What is affecting the police officer? I'm not excusing it. It should not be. But there are Nigerians coming out from similar homes.
Yeah.
And they are living their lives and doing well. So if they have the burden to still act decent, why would you, that you have the responsibility and the authority to protect Nigerians, misbehave because your barracks is not, I mean, that is not enough. As human beings, we need to put, you know, humanity first, empathy, compassion, all those sort of things that I like to talk about, and then we'll work on these extras. Now, the extras, which is welfare, infrastructure, sometimes I feel that the government in Nigeria does not understand the direct impact it has on the system, on the behavior of Nigerians as well as our security personnel. Military in the war front, we have seen cases where there was almost like a riot amongst them because welfare was lacking at some point. There is a direct correlation between how they are treated, how they are housed, how they feel that their families are catered to when they are there or not there, and how it affects the work that they do. So all this has to be put in perspective when you're dealing with situations like that. Just listing out policies is not enough.
Yeah.
Work, serious work needs to be done.
Okay, so let me add something to So let me add something to Miriam. Not just their homes, even their offices. If you go to their office, it's not a good place it's not a very good environment where you can say yes, somebody can come out and think very well. Sometimes when you go, you see their tables, you know, they still do things manually. When you go to the police station and you're going to write a report, you have to give you one long, this you write, and then they will tell you that for using their biro, you pay 2,000, all of those things. And even their cars, their cars that they use for this is not, pay for the sometimes, fuel. Yes, sometimes you pay for the fuel and then it's not, it's in a bad state.
Absolutely correct.
And they are always under the sun as well. Yeah. You know, when they are under the sun, you know, the sun is hot. So you can imagine they will be hot on anybody that they see.
So all of these things are things that we should put into. No society can function without an effective law enforcement agency. And I think it's important for us to, before we start giving responsibilities to citizens, I think the Nigerian police force also needs to get their act together and ensure that their personnel are well catered for. When you do that, it inspires them, and it also inspires Nigerians to respect and regard them, because it's who we see and and how they engage us that we begin to relate to. And I've seen that. I mean, I remember that there was a time where I used to work in an office many years ago, and things were really run down, and they were not paying us salaries. But you know something, the vision of that company held us there, because when the company finally went down 9 months after, we weren't paid 9 months salary, but we're going to work, and we're doing our work diligently. Why? Because we bought into the vision of what that company was about. We were like soldiers. So for us, it wasn't about the salary. It was the fact that we have to make this thing work. And so that bigger vision must be drilled into the Nigerian police, law enforcement. Listen, this is our country. We are building a society, a law-enforced society, is a society that functions, that our children can live in safety. So it's important for us to help these people see things differently, and that will take some time. Unfortunately, we have to wrap up on this. Let's go. We have a few comments. Let's take a few tweets before we wrap up.
Me says, are you implying that if one comes across a policeman getting beat up by soldiers, as it often happens in Nigeria, and sanely avoids intervening in such dangerous situation, one has committed an offense?
No, they'll call upon you to help. If you don't know how to help, that's probably what you have to be called upon.
So when people see the police in problem in that Nigeria first, that Nigerian first judge them as never do well. But imagine if he or she is your brother or sister. But I would like to just jump on Mo's vision of what a police officer should do. So it's this attitude of, make I just close duty, go house. It should stop. And I'm hoping that the first PRO, because he started this conversation, is listening. Number one, do the documentary. Have small skits of each section of the Police Act to motivate the police on how to carry out their duties. Two, let them understand that it is not just close shop after duty every time, go home, month end collect salary. Let them have like their KPIs of how many crimes they solved, how many matters they resolved, and somebody should also check them. I remember the case of the fake eye case I told you. The officer told me to pay the perpetrator. So that just said to me on the go. We just established that he was a criminal defrauding people with a fake eye. and you asked me to settle him, let us go. I had to work out on her. So that attitude is that she will consider that a duty to serve. That's something that they will, check her KPI on as well. It's important.
We have to wrap, but I wanted to just take in engineer to Johnny's comments. He was saying that life is like identical twins. What you get is what you garbage in, garbage out.
True.
Yeah. We must change our recruitment process to ensure that we employ the people who have passion for the job. We need to return to elementary schools where we are helping them to train them in that way. We must change the orientation of all ramifications. Remuneration is key in all of these things, and we need to do better. Their job is to defend the society even at the cost of their lives. The training environment is also important, and that affects the psyche. We must also bridge the gaps between the people and the security agencies. There is a trust deficit, and we must work hard on this. That's all we can take on this segment. When we return, move on to our health segment. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Thanks for staying with us. So, Tuesdays we discuss health issues. So, today we're talking about fibroids. So, by age 45, about 70% of women develop at least one fibroid. Many fibroids are small and cause no symptoms, but about 1/2 of Black women are dealing with bigger fibroids. On this segment, we'll be discussing the entire issue of fibroid, its causes, symptoms, and possible prevention. Joining us to discuss this is a friend of the house, Dr. Benjamin Olowojebutu. Welcome to the show.
Thanks.
I like this, your name. Your name is very, very,
Very powerful.
very strong about that name. Good to have you on the show.
Your new series is fantastic.
Thank
and
you.
I want to
Thank
thank
you.
you guys for starting this. Really good, really good.
Yeah,
Thank
25,
you.
25.
You've stepped up
Yes,
media in this
exactly.
country. Well
Absolutely,
done.
absolutely.
Well done.
Thank you.
So, discussing the issue of fibroid, every single year we discuss fibroid, because it's a conversation we need to continue to have. You can't stop talking about it, especially because of Black women, and it's quite prevalent with our race. So, for those who are just getting familiar with fibroid, let's start. What exactly is fibroid?
Okay, so fibroids are benign tumors that occur in the uterus, which means only women have uterus. You can't have it in men. So it's a benign tumor, which means it's not cancerous.
Yes.
And is located in the uterus. So if you are reproductive as a woman, there's a tendency to have fibroid. And because, it's very familiar in Africa, Black people, Black Americans, Black Hispanics, Africans, so we are more predisposed to have those fibroids in this country.
Melanated.
Yes, but it's benign. Okay. So fibroid do not cause cancer. But in this part of the world, we are used to a lot of superstition. People say a lot of things about there's a father's father following you, or there's a mother's mother following you in your village. So they throw a stone at you, and that thing can become a fibroid. So people have lived in that quagmire of lack of knowledge for a long time. I'm glad you're talking about it now, because people are getting more aware now. Because if you go to rural communities that I go to regularly, they don't even know what fibroid really is.
Still.
Wow. Yes. So there are benign tumors that occur in reproductive age. We say before it used to be above 30. Now we have seen ladies that are 22 having fibroids now, because a lot of people are taking a lot of contraceptives early enough in life, which are things that are predisposed to having fibroids and so more. So I think it's important we have this conversation, and I'm glad we're having it today.
Yeah. Okay, so are all benign growths in the uterus fibroids, or there's just beyond being benign? Are there other properties
Yes,
that make
you can have a cervical polyp in the uterus, also in the cervix. That's a polyp. But you can also have a cancer, the endometrial carcinoma. You can have cervical cancer too, obviously in the uterus. But fibroid itself, uterine fibroid, is not a cancer. It's a benign tumor.
But it can become malignant, right?
No.
Okay.
You can have other symptoms like fibroid, but they are cancers.
Okay.
So you have endometrial CA. You bleed very, very heavily. You have pain having sex. You have pain when you're menstruating. You have intramenstrual bleeding. You can have the same symptom. Excuse me. That's what you have to do. You have to do what we call evaluation, which means you have to do a test to be sure. Okay, what is the difference between what I'm having? Is it benign or is it cancerous?
Okay.
It's important you do that.
Okay, so if it is benign, do we necessarily have to take it out?
Obviously, because fibroid is like having a baby in the tummy. That's what I tell people. Anytime you eat, you feel the fibroid. Every time you eat, every time. So a tiny fiber that is a watermelon can become as big as a basketball. I've seen a 50 kg mass of a fibroid before. I've seen 35 kg. That's bigger than a 1-year-old baby.
Yes, definitely.
So the point for me is that if you don't take it out, it affects the quality of your life. First thing is low self-esteem. You can't wear what you want to wear as a lady. You are bleeding very, very heavily. For example, somebody was preaching one day and started bleeding and wear a white dress and started bleeding just spontaneously. So it affects the quality of life. So imagine the size is now very big. You now rest on your ureters. Ureters are the organs that takes urine from your kidneys to your bladder. And you can't pee. You have what we call obstructive uropathy. So your urine that should come to your bladder is going back to the kidney. You now have hydronephrosis. So now we have seen a lot of ladies having what we call acute renal failure, acute renal injury because of having fibroid and not taking them out.
As a follow-up to her question,
Yes.
the reason why people are scared, obviously, because they feel that they're going to lose, they won't be able to have children anymore.
That's
it
not
comes
true.
out with their uterus.
That's not true. So if you have a fibroid that is manageable, it's not very big, and you are still reproductive, it means you don't have a baby. Let's say you're just about maybe 40, 35. One of the major causes of subfertility or infertility in Africa is uterine fibroids. Because fibroid will take the space the baby should stay in, so you can't have a baby. So the first thing to have a baby is take out what is causing not to have a baby. So you take out the fibroid, then you can have a baby. There are ways to have a baby now. You can have normal, you can have an IVF, you can have ICSI, you can have normal copulation too. So the first thing is that you don't say because you're afraid and you leave the fibroid there. The fibroid keeps going bigger, and you might not have problems with the fibroid itself, but the symptoms of carrying the fibroid in your tummy.
Well,
So some people have what we call intestinal obstruction.
Excuse me.
Go ahead.
I have a friend that had this fibroid and she took it out. It grew again.
Yes,
it keeps growing.
Fibroid can grow. Fibroid has propensity to grow. So that's what I'm going to talk about, something about our lifestyle, things we need to do after getting fibroid. After doing the surgery, what do you need to do? A lot of people still go back to their normal old self. So let's take it gradually.
Okay.
So what are the symptoms of fibroid? You say you have fibroid. What makes it very, very peculiar and very, very bad and very, very symptomatic? Your menstrual flow used to be 3 days every month. It now becomes 7 days. You used to use 3 pads. Now we start using 10 pads.
Okay.
That is increase in flow called menorrhagia, heavy bleeding, it clots. That's the symptoms of fibroid. You used to wear size 12 of a shirt, and that becomes size 14, size 15. You think it's a bar or it's fufu. The tummy is going big, that can be a fibroid. You have painful, excruciating menstrual flow, dysmenorrhea. That's a symptom of fibroid. When you make love to your husband, you're having a lot of pain. There's no even joy to make love because as everyone is eating, making sex, is eating on the fibroid because it's a mass. It's like the. Let me describe a fiber for you. You know the back of a coconut?
Yes.
That's how strong
Hard it is.
Oh,
Yes,
really?
yes.
Wow.
That's how hard it is.
I thought it was...
That's how hard, like almost 20. So when I would have calcified fibroid, that is very, very hard. There's a lot of pain. You don't want to see what the woman is. That's why I say men shouldn't slap women or beat them. Sometimes the woman is having fibroid and is bleeding very heavily. Just one slap, she dies because she doesn't have an optimal blood flow in her body. And you just think because she's walking, she's okay. Just give her one slap and she just go because the blood level is very, very low. They are always anemic. Because they are bleeding heavier than normal. Let's say you lose maybe 3 units of blood, 3 units of blood. Now you're losing like 6, 7 you are panting, you can't climb a staircase, you are panting. Those are the other symptoms that can make somebody even die than even the major symptoms of the fibroid.
So you were going to talk about the things that predispose.
Yes.
When they continue that lifestyle, it brings regrowth. That was what
One of the things I like to say first is, I just from my own experiences, I realized that one of the things that I've caused this thing, my own thinking, our parents didn't have fibroids, a lot of them, because when they had kids early.
Okay. They didn't find out.
Or they didn't find out. So they had kids early.
Okay.
And they had multiple children.
Okay.
Whenever you are pregnant, 1 year of a pregnancy, the womb is resting. There's no menstrual flow. So the estrogen hormone is not actively working on the womb, on the uterus. You have another 1 year of breastfeeding. At that time, too, the womb is still what? Resting. So that's 2 years. So 2 years of rest. So imagine if you have 9 children. That means you have what? 18 years of rest. Because of 18 years of rest, you've not stimulated the womb to grow a fibroid. What happens most of the times, because most times, ladies that are like 30, 31, 32, 33, and they start menstruating at 12, look at the math. 33 minus 12 is 23 years. So every month of your life, you are menstruating for 23 years. And the way the womb is created, it's like vacuum. Something must grow in the womb. So that lack of rest of the womb will stimulate the fibroid to grow. That's why now a lot of people that, a lot of people around 31, 32, 33, 34, they have a lot of fibroids because the womb has been let fallow for a long time.
Sorry, but that's a theory you're working
That's
on.
my own theory,
yes.
and I've looked at it for over 15 years, and it has been, it has come out like, okay, that's what's happening.
Okay, so the reason I'm asking
Go
is
ahead.
because it's not common in white people. The womb, does it not have the same process as well?
No, so obviously because we're African.
Yeah.
And I don't know, we don't know why it's in Africa. We can't say maybe Africa is just a blessed country. Let's not say anything. But it's more in African people. It's more in black people. It's more in even black Americans. That's why it's peculiar to us. So if you have it in your family, what are the predisposing factors? If it is in your family, if there's a family history of fibroid, you can have fibroid too. It's a genetic condition. Okay. If you are too obese, you can have fibroids. If you take a lot of contraceptives, there's a predisposition also to have fibroids. Those are the things that are predisposed to having fibroids. So that's why I usually advise younger ladies, the way you take position, 1 position or 2 position, the way you take it, reduce taking it, because obviously the future is what you're looking at. It can affect you.
So you also talked about resting of the uterus, of the womb, and I'm wondering, with family planning and all the economics that we're adding today, a lot of us are resting wombs. Also, I just conspiracy about my own theory.
Yes, tell me your theory.
I'm afraid for certain procedures that I have had to do, especially evacuating, my uterus because of the loss of babies. And there's this procedure that they had to do because sometimes the placenta would not separate, they have to scrape. If, for instance, I'm just saying that they left a wound internally.
A wound internally? Oh.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
They don't want,
there are times, I'm telling you, this is my theory.
This is her theory, please.
That I have felt, I'm supposed to have healed. It's over a few years, but I still feel a certain pain at a particular point.
Okay, maybe.
I've gone constantly to do the scans and check.
Nothing is there.
But I feel that pain.
Maybe activities, maybe stress can also lead to those kind of stuff. Maybe the way you're eating, are you eating late? Are you doing your exercise that your body can take? Sometimes it's not the surgery, or it's not the procedure, it's aftermath of what you need to do that can also affect how you're feeling.
Okay, so I have had such internal, can it?
No problem.
I have a question here from somebody. She says that please ask if it's best to remove the uterus for older women. I guess she's saying that if you're an older woman,
if you're above 50 and stop menstruating, what do you want to do?
There's a role that they said the uterus plays in the hormones.
So the hormones plays a role to the point of menopause.
Okay. Menopause.
When you're menopause, your womb is like, you're already sterile. Nothing's happening there.
Is the uterus
until you are menopausal, you can leave your uterus because your ovaries are still working. They're producing the estrogen. What makes you feel like a woman? You know, your libido is high. You're getting a little wet. You're happy. You have, you know, you can feel like a baby. That kind of stuff. But if you are menopausal, there's no point. What happens most time? Why a lot of them have this fibroid after their menopausal? You know why? They had it when they were younger, when they were maybe almost their menopause, and they have this fantasy or this lies that tell them, that these about guys tell them that it will shrink, it will shrink. So they're expecting it to shrink, but they don't. It doesn't shrink until now. They don't cross over the menopause. That becomes very, very big and has issues. Discomforting. They have issues going to the bathroom. They can't even poo because they are constipated because the big mass is resting on their intestine.
So they need to take it out.
They need to take it out.
Please let me say on that.
It's advisable for them because they're menopausal. They don't need the womb again. They can take it out.
Please let's stay on that shrinking because that is something that is it's something that is being touted all the time. You see all sorts of ads everywhere where there are herbs and all sorts of drinks that you can take to shrink it. Please, can you help educate us on these things? Is there anything that happens?
That's a lie.
Asian medicine that helps?
Ginseng and
yes.
You get all this.
So let me tell you, Mariah, what happens in this part of the world. You know, we're very, very religious. And people work on our psyche, on our psychology, on our fear. A lot of women have fear. So the fear is what people have used to make money and milk them off. So we are afraid. You don't want to do surgery. Let's bring you something that will seemingly look as if.
Can I disagree with you?
Okay.
Because, you know, you just mentioned that at menopause, your hormones no longer work with your uterus. There's a saying where I'm from that the woman don't mature, she don't enter manhood. And they usually use it to describe women who are in menopause, who are late into their 50s and 60s. You can now sit in the council of men because you are no longer supposed to be thinking like a woman. I'm just saying that our fathers had a way. Okay. Number two is that I have seen an old woman, she's late now, Alaja said, her fibroid was treated and she shit them out.
Hey,
she born
Jesus.
Did you see? It came out like onion.
Did you see it?
She told me. She's late now. Let me, it came out
Maura,
like this.
let me give you a scenario.
Maybe it wasn't fibroid. It was really
late,
bad.
so we can't even ask her.
They have a name for it. I'm trying to remember the name.
Let me give you a story. I'll tell you this true life story. Somewhere in Songwater. There's this guy, one of these guys that gives about medicines and says it's strength. You know what he does? He goes to hospitals and buys fibroid masses and puts in a formalin.
Oh my goodness.
So he puts in the formalin and asks them to ask the woman to lie down in a suitable position. You know, you're back. You're not seeing him.
Yeah.
So he now puts something in your vagina like an eyeball stuff and tells you, push. It's coming. And you feel like you're pushing, and he just brings out that small, just like that the one he has put in the formalin, and say, wow, see it, just push it out.
But when you wake up, you realize
the psyche now.
Yes,
psychologically.
So it's reducing you. You think it's reducing.
You now bring out that one.
So the husband one day now said, Madam, this your tummy is not going down. So he now followed that quietly to the place. You know that key we used to use back in those union keys that if you put the keys, you can see through the hole. Yeah. That was the key to the guy. So he now went with the wife and said he was looking at the key and say, let me see why he's always pushing out this fibroid. He now said that he saw the way they lined up all the masses on the floor. Can you imagine? So he just jumped. He said, so this is why I've been doing to my wife, collecting my money. So a lot of them use psyche. Some people will go to a woman and say they'll match their tummy. Did you hear that?
I've heard that one.
This is a group setting.
There's one that they will use.
Alaja.
On this one, I will not agree. Womb setting,
I know.
they will massage you. Your uterus will sit well. Get off your legs, you'll be free. I'm telling you. I'm telling you, I'm there, woman.
Dr. Olowo Jebutu, please learn from Alaja here. Learn. It's not anything that medical school will teach you. There's a question here.
Yes.
So let me ask this question.
Okay, please.
So they said there's a part of the womb where the fibroid is that is a bit safe, not totally safe, but it's okay for it.
Okay, so it's about the size now. So let me just quickly talk about that. Fibroids, there are 5 of them, types, depending on the location of the fibroid. So you have submucous, you have cervical fibroid, you have pinoculated fibroid, you have submucous, you have intramural fibroid. So where they are, if the fibroid is submucous, subserosa, outside the womb, and it's not very, very big, it's not a problem. You can have a baby. But as you have the baby too, it also what grows. So imagine a woman having a fibroid that is about the size of watermelon.
Oh my God.
And the baby is, the baby is just like granite. So no matter how the baby will grow, the size and the weight of the watermelon will crush the baby. So a lot of them I will call habitual abortion. So they get about 4 weeks, 5 weeks, 6 weeks, they lose the baby. Are you getting me? And as they lose the baby, that fiber that is watermelon has also grown again.
Yes.
You gotta take it out.
But if it was smaller, like maybe orange or melon or lemon, yes, that one they can have a baby. So that one, but if the fiber also is inside the womb submucous.
Doctor, there's a question that is really important from here, and I think it goes to the question I was going to ask. This issue of surgery. There's a woman here, she says, I'm 50 years, but I'm afraid of surgery. Ask him if it's a major surgery, how long to recover, any likelihood of complications, because that's really the crux of it. There's nobody that listens to the issue of fibroid. They only speak, take it out, but they're afraid. This is Nigeria. Surgery, they're thinking to myself that I don't want to go and die under the knife. So is it a very difficult surgery to have, and how are the likelihood of complications?
What are the risks?
It's not very difficult surgery if you go to a very skilled and a very good doctor at LP hospital, and also explain the procedures to you.
What's the procedure?
There are also things you need to do. You need to also, it's myomectomy. So if the fibroid if you're just taking out the fibroid itself, it's called myomectomy. There are different kinds of myomectomies. You can do an open myomectomy. You can do a laparoscopic myomectomy. Then you can do, now there's IFU. IFU is intrafetal ultrasound. So you could do ultrasound to take it out. But open myomectomy helps you take out every seed of the fibroid, everything.
That's you open up the tummy.
Yes, the tummy.
Normal English.
Yes, open up the tummy.
You take it out.
The tummy.
You not tear. You cut, not tear. You don't tear.
You cut the
tummy. So you so you pull it out.
Okay.
You expose the fibroid uterus. You tie with the tourniquet. Then you begin to take out the fibroid one after the other, and now refashion the womb to take a baby. Okay. So that sometimes, if you don't take out the fibroids, the person can have a baby because the whole space of where the baby should stay, fibroid is staying there. Okay. Myomectomy. And there are things you need to also do after the surgery. There are things you cannot eat, you cannot do. For example, I tell my patients 3 months after surgery, there are food you should not eat. You don't say because you like to eat eba. You can't start eating eba and everything like that. People like to do that. No. After the surgery. Right now, we realize that there's from research, there are some meals that also aid the growth of the fibroid. Red meat, floury food like shawarma, meat pie meat, sodas, those things that aid the growth. So you just probably just change your lifestyle. A lot of vegetables, a lot of greens, lettuces, cabbages, cucumber, fresh food, tomatoes, onions, very nice. Okay. It helps aid the healing and it makes them very, very good. Yeah. So it's not a difficult surgery. Okay. It is the best thing to do for you because the complications of not taking it out can be worse for you. Okay. That's the idea for me.
There are other options you were supposed to talk about.
Yes,
so you talked about
laparoscopy, yes. So laparoscopy for the very small ones, you could do laparoscopy, keyhole surgery through the navel and just take out the fibroids. That's okay. Then if you are very old, you are menopausal, you don't need the womb anymore. You do a total hysterectomy.
Is there a laser?
That also helps you prevent other things that can happen in the future. Cervical cancer, endometrial, CA, stuff like that.
Take out the whole thing.
How about, is there a laser option? I don't know why.
No laser.
So as I'm 45 now, and I'm like, I'm done. I've had, keep quiet. Let me ask my own question. Mid-40s. There's a woman, okay, let me not put myself. There's a woman watching now. She's in her mid-40s. She's like, I'm done having my kids. Can I just take the whole thing out?
That's it. Yes. You can't take it out.
I don't agree.
I don't want to agree with you, sir. Because there's a reason we have.
Why don't you agree?
Doctor, show me how many women that have done it and they've lived wholesome life into their 80s.
Really?
Yeah, if I can see that.
Loads of them.
I would
Loads of them.
That's one.
It's less organ to deal with.
It's possible.
I feel
That's
that
possible.
that's what makes me a woman.
Okay, so-
and it's something I was born with.
But you've had your children.
No. I think it has
Let me
much more
answer.
to do beyond having children.
Psychology, yes.
No, I
The
feel like
feeling.
there has to be like a balance of my hormones, and that
Yeah.
plays a role. As it diminishes,
Yes.
and I think that, that it's still important that it's there so that, it balances my hormones as I get
Till,
older.
you
If you take it out forcefully, I feel
Enough.
how the body will miss it.
Yeah.
The body will
Somebody has
realize
answered your
that-
question.
Okay.
I'm not sure if she wants me to mention her name.
Mention.
Let me not mention her name. She said, in 2019, I had mine removed.
Okay.
And my uterus too, but my ovaries remained.
Yes.
So this makes me feel like a woman in the other room.
Yes.
Okay.
Doctors should educate women on the implications of some of
Difference
these things.
between ovaries
I will be
and-
55 years old in February 20th. So she's saying that
it's
she still feels like a
possible.
woman.
She's
She's
still
still
okay.
So let me tell you.
I think
let me
it's
tell you.
possible.
When a woman is 70,
Why are you
See,
saying 70?
it-
Let's do 50.
okay, 50. You think when you're menopausal, I'm talking about when you're menopausal. When you're menopausal, you just feel in your mind that you have a womb. But it's not doing anything for you
Not
again.
doing anything.
It's just there like,
Expect
They are not,
do you get?
But some people are
Now,
not menopausal at 50 now. They don't
That's what
have
I'm saying now.
never
So let me
It's
ask you.
psychological, people. You're being very psychological, sentimental.
Exactly.
Because somebody here is telling me that.
So you can take out the womb and leave the ovary. If that's what you want, you don't feel like a woman. What
Leave
makes
the
you feel like a
ovaries.
woman is the ovary?
Ovary that she can't see. Can you see the ovary?
No, but there are things that is doing in my body,
why do
keeping
you
me
know
moist.
yes.
and
Miriam,
Having
feeling
with your
and-
thyroid, giving you the right hormones.
Miriam. That ovary again can still cause ovarian cancer. So you want to put it there because of ovarian cancer?
Take it out.
No,
Take it out.
I
Take
don't
it
like the way you're demonizing the
I'm not
ovary.
They are
demonizing.
selling
Somebody says that.
He's saying it's a possibility.
Is that the
For
one?
a young
Wait,
woman.
let me
Hold on,
let
Moriah.
Nima jump in here. Yeah.
I've seen a mammatomy complication for a young woman under 30 that resulted in the loss of her uterus.
Yes, it's possible.
So we know
So let me say why that can happen to you.
Oh, yeah.
Sometimes a lot of women have taken a lot of this herbal medicine. I can tell you for free that has caused a lot of additions and a lot of complications for their womb. They've taken somebody one day had taken a lot of herbal medicines and her vagina has closed. As in, they'll tell you that if you put something in your vagina, you swallow some, it has closed. There was no vagina again. Whoa. As in, it has.
Sealed it up.
We need
We
to
call
be
it vaginal
careful.
stenosis. Yes, it has closed.
Ooh, yeah.
Yes, no, it's possible.
So it melted the
You
flesh.
know, it's the things like they're very acidic. They're very rubbish acidic something that causes wound. So they just put it on the vagina and it will now heal by fibrosis. So when the thing heals,
There are plenty of questions coming in.
YK, I have question for you. YK say we should
help.
help her to ask if they remove the testes. If since men are no longer using it in their
yes,
old
they
age.
remove this obviously. Remove this.
Okay,
Okay, that's right.
somebody says my mom did a
But your voice
surgery.
is sounding low when you're saying yes.
They wanted to sell all of us. We should just throw everything
So
away.
wait, let me tell you. So
Like
if you have benign prostatic hyperplasia, BPH, or a prostate CA, the first thing the doctor will advise you to do is take out your testes. Orchidectomy.
Does this stop performance?
Does it prevent?
It obviously stops.
Does it
Oh,
prevent
really?
prostate?
Seriously?
Does it prevent
definitely.
prostate?
And you think the uterus is
Does it
not doing
prevent
something?
prostate?
Okay,
No,
sir.
it helps.
Somebody says
because
my
of-
mom did surgery and removed her womb because of fibroid, but the bleeding was too much. She has to. The bleeding continues after the surgery.
bleeding was too much before. That's actually.
Okay, the bleeding was too much.
She has
That's actually.
Someone
yes,
says, Nima,
Okay, so
I have
I
a
have-
person who removed her womb to help her body cope with hormonal changes during menopause.
Yes,
Is that
no.
possible?
Yes, no.
So,
And that
excuse
was
me, when
said-
you remove your womb, that means there's no more periods. You won't be having
Yes,
periods
yes,
anymore.
yes.
You won't be,
You won't be,
restricting
yes.
nothing.
But just-
And then,
you
okay,
just be
so
chilling.
There's this, there's somebody I
You'll be
know
chilling.
that
It's only a man that will
that
call it
had
that.
Chilling.
There's
Oh, I
someone
love that
I know.
idea of just chilling. Honestly, my life.
You're not buying parts
You
anymore.
will be
no, no.
buying
Telling
pad,
you,
you
man.
will save costs.
Same cost. No.
Yes.
Only a man that will
Okay,
look
so
at
there's
that.
this so surgery you can't perform fibroid surgery at the same time have a baby.
It's
at the
not.
same
It's
time.
not. It's not
possible.
advisable. It's because, but sometimes, when you want to deliver the baby, there might be a fibroid in front of you.
Okay.
Maybe when you open up the womb. Some women are lucky.
Sarah.
They have the fibroid. When it was small, they got pregnant, and maybe they're on bed rest till they deliver. You have to do a cesarean section for them, and the fibroid is just in front of you. So you might not take out everything, no. But the one that is on
My
the
own
way.
I have to go. We have to go.
Okay.
Time has
Time
gone.
have
But
gone,
this lady said, please ask your doctor if he can tell his own wife to remove her womb after childbearing.
Definitely.
Okay.
That's the
answer
plan.
question. All right, that's the plan.
Yes.
Okay. That is all we can take on
thank
today's
you.
show. I mean, it's
Thank
quite
you.
interesting. I love the way we are different in this
Interesting,
conversation.
yes.
I mean, I really like it.
I've learned from Alaja. I said I can
I
massage
absolutely
people.
love it.
The massage room,
I
don't
massage
worry.
it out.
We know.
I
don't
came
worry.
out like
If you have
onions.
someone that needs
for
it
who?
to fix it.
Hey! That's all we can take on today's show. Have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye for now.